In this video, we're going to take a look at how to use the mouse in an XNA program. And I've already got some variables declared here and some constants. We're going to need a font. And so I've declared a sprite font here and just called it font. And then we're going to be drawing some rectangles on the screen. And I want to have a small margin on the top and I want to have a small margin on the left before I start drawing my rectangles. And then I'm going to have a grid of rectangles. I'm going to have, in this case, 10 rows and 12 columns. And these two numbers here are going to define the size of the cells. So it'll be 30 pixels wide and 25 pixels tall. And the nice thing about doing these constants is that everything that I do as far as setting up my rectangles is going to be determined by using these numbers, and therefore I can change my margins, I can change the number of rows, number of columns, I can change the size of the cells just by coming up here and changing a single number. Now we're going to be drawing some items on the screen that we can test for clicks, and really all we need is a rectangle to define where we're going to draw the texture and the actual texture itself. So I have a sprite struct with these two fields in it, and then I want a two-dimensional array of those cells. We're doing this program to test the mouse, so we're going to have a mouse state variable called mouse and one called previous mouse that we will save at the bottom of every update loop. And then I need a row and a column variable for a few other things. So in Initialize, first thing I want to do is I want to set my, make sure that my mouse is visible. And all that is setting his mouse visible equal to true. You do that once at the beginning, and that's all you have to worry about. Then I need to actually allocate some memory for my cells array. So this will give me a 10 by 12 two-dimensional array of cells. And then I'm going to go through every row in the array, and I'm going to go through every column in the array. And I'm going to set the width of every one to my cell width, set the height equal to the cell height. Then I need to compute the x, and I did put some comments down here. The first one is going to be 20, which is just the size of the left margin, and then I said that the width on them is going to be 30. So cell number 1, or column number 1 rather, is going to be 20 pixels over plus 30. Column 2 is going to be 20 plus 30 plus 30. 3 is going to be 20 plus 30 plus 30 plus 30. And so basically 20 is the left margin, and then the cell width needs to be multiplied by the column that I'm in to find the pixel offset. So take the left margin, this is the column I'm in, multiply it by the cell width, and that will give me the correct x. And it works the same way in the other direction. To find the y coordinate, take the top margin and add on the row number multiplied by the cell height. Okay. We do need to load some content. I'm going to load my font here with just a content.load. And I'm going to read in, I guess since they're all the same, I don't know if I really need to do this. I could just have one texture, but I'm going to store a texture in every single cell in my two-dimensional array. So this takes me through every row, this takes me through every column, and this loads in my bomb texture or image over here into every single cell. Okay. And then I want to scroll down and take a look at update. So the first thing I'm going to do in here is I'm going to get the state of the mouse. The last thing I'm going to do, except for this code that was part of the template, the last thing that I'm doing is I'm saving the mouse in a variable called previous mouse, prev mouse. And all I'm going to do in update here is I'm going to look at every single row and every single column, so basically every cell, and I'm going to check to see if the mouse button was clicked. And actually I don't need to do that 50 times, or not 50 times, 120 times. I think it's 10 by 12, so I just need to do that once. This is a much better place to put it. And I guess my comment should probably go above it then as well. And then I'm going to check every single cell. And what I want to see is if the mouse was clicked. So I've got two things here. If the mouse was clicked and this notation right here tells me to go to the given cell and take a look at its rectangle. And there's a built-in contains method for the rectangle, and it will tell me if it contains on the screen the particular X and the Y where the mouse are right now. And if they are, then I'm going to copy the current row into R into row. The current column, which is C, into col. And I'm going to display these two numbers on the screen in draw so that I can verify and check and see if I really am clicking in the correct cell. Now there is I think a much better way to write this so I don't have to do all the for loops if nobody clicked the mouse. So I'm going to do the for loops are going to be only done if mouse clicked is true. Okay, and then when I get in here, I don't need to see if mouse clicked is true because I know it is, or I wouldn't have gotten inside of the for loop in the first place. I'm going to change my indentation here now so it reflects the actual structure of the code. So if the mouse is clicked, I'll check to see if they clicked in a rectangle that is part of my two-dimensional array. If the mouse is not clicked, there's no point in doing that. So okay, so now what am I going to do down here? In draw, I'm going to go and I'm going to draw every single cell on the screen using the texture, using the rectangle coordinates that we calculated and the color white. And then I'm also going to draw the row, convert it to a string, put a comma and a space after it, and then the column and convert it to a string. And I've got vector 0, which means it'll go to location 0, 0 in the upper left hand corner, and I'm going to use a font color white. We'll see how that looks. If you know, black or red or something looks better, we'll try that. So let's try and run this program now. What we should see is we should see 120 bombs on the screen. Each one is in a cell that is 30 pixels wide and 25 pixels tall, and there should be 10 rows with 12 bombs in every row. So let's check and see what we get here. So this is what we have, and it looks like 10 rows and it looks like 12 columns, and they're a little bit wider, you know, 30 pixels wide, 25 pixels tall. And so if I have 25 pixels and 10 rows, it's going to be 250. My whole height here is 480, so it should be a little more than half. And if I take the width 30 times 12, I get 360, and my whole width here is 400, so that should be a little less than half. So it looks like I'm drawing those correctly. Now, my code is to check and see if I can figure out which row and column I'm clicking in. So I'm going to go here just to, well, 0, 0 is already what I've got. And then I'm going to click in 0, 1, 0, 2. Over here should be 0, 11. This should be row 1, column 0. This should be row 1, column 11. Row 2, column 0, row 2, column 11, and so on. Okay, so that seems to be working. Let's stop the program, and we'll stop the video right there, and we'll continue with second video.